Pawn to e4. Pawn to e5. Knight to f3. Knight to c6. Bishop to b5. Roy Lopez. Pawn to a6. Bishop to a4. Knight to f6. King to g1. Bishop to c5. Morphy defense, Neo-Arkhangelsk variation. Pawn to c3. Black to play. What to move? If pawn to b5 is the main line, pushing the Spanish bishop away and preventing the pin on the c6 knight after reinforcing the center with d6. King to g8 was played in the game. Pawn to d4. Bishop to a7. Bishop to g5, paralyzing the f6 knight. Pawn to h6. Bishop to h4. Pawn to d6. Bishop to c6. White spent 30 minutes in this move. There are only 17 games on the Lichess Masters database from here, and in none of those games did black won. Pawn to c6. Pawn to e5. Pawn to e5. White to play. What to move? If knight to e5, always grab the free pawn. Rook to a7 with equality. Queen to e2 was played in the game, and we reach a new position. There are no games from here in the Lichess Masters database. Queen to e7. Bishop to g3. Knight to d7. Knight to a3. Pawn to a5, with the idea of pinning the queen. Knight to c2. Bishop to a6. Pawn to c4. Pawn to f6. Black defends the pawn and frees the knight to maneuver to a more active square. Black's king side light squares are momentarily weak. Most probably the a6 bishop will be needed in the king side soon. Pawn to b3. Knight to c5. Knight to h4. The knight dreams to reach the Kasparov f5 square. Queen to f7. King to h1, getting the king out of the malicious eyes of the a7 bishop. Also preparing f5. Rook to e8, x-raying white's queen. Knight to f5. Bishop to c8. The light squared bishop will get rid of the monstrous octopus on f5. Pawn to f3, allowing the dark square's bishop to reach the queenside via e1. Queen to h5. Bishop to e1 a mistake. White exchanges a central pawn for a lateral pawn. Bishop to f5. Pawn to f5. Queen to f5. Bishop to a5. Knight to e6. Rook to d1. Black to play. What to move? If queen to g6. Getting the bishop out of the pawn chain. Pawn to c5, black is winning. Pawn to e4, a dubious move, was played in the game, opening the position and giving a discovered check to white's bishop. Bishop to e1. Pawn to f3. Rook to f3. Queen to g6. Queen to d3. White has less than 2 minutes on the clock and looks for a simplification. Queen to f7. Queen to d7, a blunder. White overlooks a simple tactic. After the exchanges, the first rank becomes weak. Also, black's rook is still looking through X-rays white's bishop. Queen to d7. Rook to d7. Black to play. What to move? If knight to d4, black is winning. Bishop to c5 was played in the game. White to play. What to move? If pawn to a4. Rook to d1, a dubious move, was played in the game. Rook to a2. Now it's a matter of technique. Knight to b4. Bishop to b4. Bishop to b4. Knight to g5. Rook to d3. Rook to e2. Reach the 7th rank and the game you'll win, said Capablanca. Rook to d2. Rook to d2. Bishop to d2. Knight to e4. Attacking the bishop. Bishop to e1. Rook to b2. Placing the rook behind the passed pawn. Pawn to b4. Pawn to c5. Pawn to b5. Rook to c2. Rook to b1. Rook to c4. Bishop to a5. Rook to a4. Bishop to c7. Knight to c3. White's back rank is still weak. Rook to c1. Knight to b5. Bishop to g3. Knight to c3. Bishop to f2. Knight to e4. Bishop to e3. Pawn to c4. Pawn to g4. Rook to a3. Bishop to d4. Pawn to c3. King to g2. Rook to a2. King to g1. Pawn to c2. King to f1. Knight to d2. And white resigns. A great game by Zemlyanskii. White got into time trouble and tried to simplify the position by swapping queens, but missed that after the exchanges he was left with a weak back rank and weak queen side pawns. Probably white regrets having wasted half an hour in move 10.